Hello everybody, my name is CraigBennettII, and today I'm doing an overview on a new feature within Pokemon Moon and Sun. And I figured that this will be a useful video for anyone who's having trouble with the Pokemon Pelago, what is it, and a few things within it. And hopefully maybe it'll give you some tips and tricks within it. So as far as that goes, real quick, I don't have a 3DS capture card. So note that, but maybe that will change in due time and depending on the views on this and everything else. But anyways, as far as that goes, let's jump on in and bear with me on pictures. So as you're going through the actual story, you will be presented with Pokemon Pelago. You have to look in the actual menu, and it is on obviously the bottom screen, but on the second slide. And that will say Pokemon Pelago within the menu, and just click on that, and that will take you to the island. There is someone there that will give you a basic explanation of everything, but it's very confusing. It doesn't really actually talk too much in detail about things, and you can easily miss certain things. Now, as far as that goes, and this is one big reason why I'm making this video, is because I messed up a few times trying to figure this system out. Now, as far as things goes, you will be presented with an island, and you can develop islands, you can improve islands, and so on. Each island will have a area that you can put Pokebeans, and we'll talk more about this in a second. But basically, I wanted to point out, if you have your 3DS and fallen through with this, on the bottom right icon, if you click that, that will take you to an area where you can actually select Develop Islands, exchange Pokebeans, or send out a bean bottle. Now, to send out a bean bottle, it's basically you send out a bean bottle and you have an increased chance of getting one back. I don't think it actually sends it out over line, because it's not connected over line. Most of the time it might be able to sync up or something of this nature, but as far as I can tell, it has no online function for the Pelago stuff. It's just a random number generator, and it increases the chance that you're going to get something. Now, the amount that you get, if you do get the bean bottles, which will be floating next to the island, will be anywhere from 10 to 20 to, I've seen it up to 70 something, so note that. But with that note, that's all that really is. And you can still get that even if you don't participate in that. It's just a lower chance. So as far as the next thing is exchange Pokebeans, and there's 3 different types of beans. There's plain. There's no name on it, so I'm just going to generate a name. It's going to say plain, which is the one on the first left, advance, and then rainbow. So with that, you can exchange the rainbow and advance for plain beans. Now, as far as that goes, one advanced bean will get you 3 plain beans. 1 rainbow bean will get you 7 plain beans. So if that helps. Then develop islands will allow you to actually make an entire new island. There's only a handful of islands, and I'll get down to that in a second. And you can upgrade. You can upgrade islands from the initial stats to a little bit more advanced to the advanced. So there's 3 stages, so note that. Now, as far as that goes, what I would advise you to do, and this is something I wish I did, because there's not really a good tutorial within the game on this. What I wish I did is upgraded the Bean Island first all the way. So what you do is, whenever you're developing an island, it requires you to have a certain amount of Pokemon and also a certain amount of beans. The certain amount of beans, basically, that will be used up. The Pokemon, obviously, you still keep them. It's just saying that, like, for example, if it says 120, then you need 120 Pokemon, but for the most part, have the beans. That's the important part. And because of that, I would say develop the bean island first, because it gets very expensive very quickly on the other ones. So let's go into the actual what the islands do and the functions and stuff of this nature. Let's start with the bean island, or a beans. So as far as that goes, on all these islands, you will have a basket or a box or something of this nature where you can click on it and you can actually add time to do something. So on the bean island, that adding time, basically the island does two things. This particular island does dual function. The first function, which is obviously getting the Poke Beans. Other than that, it attracts wild Pokemon to it. They won't attack or anything, but they'll just come to it, and if they hang out for a 24 hours, basically if they last until the next day of real world time, then you get to keep them if you want. And that's that. It's an easy way to catch things. And if you can't find certain things, you might be able to get things through that method. By clicking on that box, you can add beans into it, and that will shorten up the time, or allow you to increase the chances of a wild Pokemon to come up and hop on the island and check it out. Now, as far as I could tell, I got mine developed all the way up to level 3, and basically it will only take on 2 wild Pokemon, and obviously if they stay there for the full day, then I get to keep them. The problem is what I found is, while the thing does track them pretty easily, it seems to not actually increase the chance that they will stick around. So that's just one thing to note. Now, as far as the time goes, and this goes across the board on all the islands, one plain bean gives you 20 minutes. One advanced bean, again, the 3 levels, there's some names on it, but the advanced bean is 1 hour, and one rainbow bean is 2 hours. So note that. And then you can only put so many into the box itself. So going into and I believe it's like 30. So note that. Sorry about that. So the first level, the base level, it's 20 beans, max beans you can put in there. For second level or second tier, it is 30 beans. And the final, which is the last tier, it is 50 beans, so note that. But again, the times are always the same. Again, that is one plain bean is 20 minutes, one advanced bean is 1 hour, and one rainbow bean is 2 hours. So just note that when you're doing it. So as far as that goes, that's pretty much it as far as the bean island itself. And again, I'll advance that one first because the beans are used as an actual commodity and within that. So the next, and I'll say the next one that you need to actually invest into is the exercise island, which is the EVELUP island. And basically what this one does is you can send certain Pokemon to it, and the Pokemon that you send there, they will level up in some aspect. What would end up happening is you will click a given sign, and you will assign given Pokemon to it, and from there you can tell it to level up the actual level of the Pokemon itself. The HP, you can say boost the HP. You can say boost the attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. By leveling up this particular island, you can add more groups, and each group you can have it level up a given thing, but only 6 Pokemon can be within a group. So, for example, you can have group 1 being leveling up the actual level itself, group 2 leveling up the HP. So you can do that if you want. Using the actual beans itself, it allows you to half the time. So say, for example, if the thing says it will take 5 hours, then you can half that time, so 2.5 hours. That's just basically how that would work. It's and then you can pretty much see automatically where this would come in handy. Now the interesting thing is the 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever, that is real world time. You can manipulate this. I'm not going to get too much into this. You can pretty much figure it out yourself. But as far as this goes, you basically, if you're not going to play for a while, or when you're about to go to sleep, you can just have whatever your main Pokemon are, take them out of your inventory, put them in a computer, all the ones that you want to level up, throw them in here and have them level up while you go to sleep. You can't play the game anyways. Might as well have them level up while you're sleeping. Remember to save the game whenever you're done. And simple as that. Now, as far as that goes, the next one I'll say you should get, especially if you go into breeding, is the Relaxation Island, the AVUE Island. And this is basically an island with a bunch of hot springs. Now, as far as this goes, what you would do is you would level up the island. So again, there's 3 tiers to these islands, and this will add more groups, like the last thing I was talking about. So, like the exercise island, the each group is 6 Pokemon. So note that. Now, with this, there is no actual time as far as long as the Pokemon are there, they are relaxing. And what relaxing means, and this is not explained at all, unfortunately, but what it means is their happiness to you goes up. And obviously, there's a max happiness, but their happiness to you goes up, which means that they will avoid things during battle. They will do things out of normal, whereas like hit and do more critical hits and things of this nature, which is worthwhile. So with it is kind of a worthwhile, but the thing I like about this particular island is if you go into breeding, you can actually throw your eggs into here and they will hatch on their own. So you don't have to carry them with you and just walk around and have dead weight with you. You can actually go ahead and throw them in the island, and they will hatch on their own over obviously a set amount of time. Now, what the bean box does is by adding beans in there to add time, you are having the time, half the whatever time it would take to get to whatever affection that you want or whatever thing you want. Unfortunately, now this is one thing I don't like about the island. You can't exactly tell when the egg's going to hatch. You can't exactly tell how affectionate a Pokemon is to you. You only get that some type of message like, the Pokemon is fond of the island. The Pokemon seems to be pretty relaxed. The Pokemon cannot be relaxed anymore. When you get the cannot be relaxed anymore, it's time to take them out of that, because that's that. There's nothing else that hot springs can do for it. Now, as far as that goes, the downside to using this hot spring system is if your Pokemon stays in there for 24 hours. So what I would say is, if you're actively playing the game, throw whatever Pokemon in there that you want, and then or if ones are already in there, go ahead and take them out and then put them back in before you go to bed or whatever it may be. and that way it doesn't have this negative effect, which is if they're in the hot springs for 24 hours or over, their attachment to you decreases. So before that 24-hour period is hit, their affection to you is increased. Then after that 24-hour period, it will start decreasing until you show up. They will have icons over their head, and that will show you that time has passed and whatever. Just keep in mind that if you've got Poke Beans in there, then that can also increase the time that if they're decreasing, that could potentially decrease their affection to you even quicker. So there is some mechanics there that you just got to keep in mind. But with that one in mind, you can actually use this more than less to hatch your eggs while you're not doing anything. Instead of just throw them in the computer and that's because they ain't gonna hatch there, or put them on you and just walk around like crazy forever. You can throw them in here in real time. When that passes, you can come back or manipulate the time. You can come back and fix that. You can actually go ahead and hatch them like that. Now, before I forget, one negative thing to both the previous island, which is the exercise island, or the EVELUP, or and this one, the relaxation island, or the AVUE, is whatever Pokemon that are within these two islands that are using them, they won't be able to be found within the computer itself, which would indicate that you cannot, you have to go to the islands themselves. Basically, you have to go to the system, go to the islands, pull them out of the islands, put them back into the computer itself in order to use them within the actual game itself. So that's something to note. It could be a little bit frustrating, but it is just something to note, especially when you're trying to catch them all and do whatever. You might have I ran into this problem where there was a copy of something on one of the islands when I was testing it, and I thought that was a brand new one that I had caught, or one that I evolved or something. So that's something that to keep in mind. That as long as those Pokemon are on those two islands, the exercise island and the relaxation island, they will simply not be showing up within the computer itself, which means that you can't transfer them into the Pokebank. You can't go and transfer them into your actual party or anything like that. So that's just something to note. Now, the next island that I'll say that you should put some time into is getting the cave island, or the APHUN. It's not normal words. I'm just come across Hawaiian words. But anyways, as far as that goes, basically with this island, like the others, there's 3 tiers or 3 phases. And as you upgrade it, it will grant you more things this island can produce. Basically what this island does is you can tell the Pokemon to go in and search for whatever, and this will allow them to go in and over a certain amount of time, they'll bring back whatever they're hunting for, whatever you told them to hunt for. The phases, as you upgrade it, the more that they can find and the more types. So what that means, as far as what they can find, is if you got fully upgraded, is shards, which is kind of a low tier thing. It's it's easily sellable items. You have stones. These I have not gotten any actual stones you can use on Pokemon itself. I'm not ruling that out for any of this. In fact, I've never gotten anything that I'm able to use on the Pokemon itself. It's more items that you are supposed to sell. But again, I'm not ruling that stuff out. I'm just telling you what's on the menu. The following is treasure hunting, rare treasure hunting, which basically it's, as it sounds. The following that is items hunting, and that's pretty much about it. Now, obviously, with this, the items and the rare treasure, I would say that's more worthwhile. In fact, you get access to the rare treasure once you get to phase 3, so it is worthwhile to go for that. But until then, I mean, the other ones are just fine. It's just ways to grow your wealth pretty quickly. Now, as far as this goes, you'll notice that you got 2 boxes on this particular island. So the front and center box is simply where whenever the Pokemon are done, which it takes 24 hours normally by themselves, they basically, whenever they get done, their items are stacked there. You just click that and you can go through it, see what it is, and collect it. Then the other box, the one on the first right, that's where you put your Pokebeans in. By adding Pokebeans into there, basically you can actually half your time. So that's pretty quick. So basically, instead of doing 24 hours, if you put 12 hours of Pokebeans in there, then you can get then to complete it within 12 hours type of thing. So just note that. So with that, we are going to check out the last island, and what this is it is a berry island. It's just a farm island, basically, where you can grow berries. You can grow 6 berries all in total, and as far as that goes, you get a time and whatever. You can grow in 3 groups, and 1 berry is considered per 1 plot. So just note that. Like, you can grow 6 different type of berries if you want, or 6 of the same. It's really up to you. But just note that you got 6 slots, and then you got 3 groups when it's fully upgraded. The actual box, the Pokebeans, what they do on this particular island is they half the time of growing the Pokebeans. It's simple as that. It's pretty straightforward on that one. So as far as that goes, if you got any questions, anything else, then feel free to let me know, and I'll answer as quickly as possible. But please like, subscribe, share, and whatnot, and I'll see what I can do in future videos about fixing the capture system, and let me know if you want me to do more videos like this. And also let me know if I missed out on something. I got a feeling I did. But anyways, I'll see you next video. Hope you have a great